Well, hello there, I'm Cass, and happy 23rd anniversary, Wayforward Technologies! Wait a minute. What company celebrates their 23rd anniversary?
Yes, it's once again time to talk about the good old folks over at Wayforward Technologies. For those of you that don't know, the California studio began in 1990, creating several licensed games that never really did catch on in the mainstream. That's not to say that they weren't successful, but most of them were critical darlings or system sellers. That is until 2002, where they released their new IP with the help of Capcom, Shantae, to critical praise and poor sales. While Shantae would become one of the rarest games on the Game Boy Color, Wayforward would continue to build their reputation for their quirky retro game design and love for female leads. And while not every title of theirs since then has become a classic, the ones that are have more than earned their status. The Mighty Trilogy, as it became known as, being at the forefront, starting off with the retro-inspired Mighty Flip Champs, only to be followed up with one of the strangest sequels ever, Mighty Milky Way. A good title on its own, but a very strange and odd departure from Mighty Flip Champs. In 2011, Wayforward released a title on the eShop that was more of a spiritual successor to Mighty Flip Champs and more proof of their insanity, Mighty Switch Force. This year, Wayforward is kicking things off with the first sequel to one of the Mighty Trilogy titles, Mighty Switch Force 2.
However, I know that some of you might be wondering what I thought of the very first Mighty Switch Force. So, here's a very brief review of Mighty Switch Force 1. Why is this game so short? Ooh! Bonus levels. Now we're good.
Yeah, the original Mighty Switch Force was good, but not great. It was rather short, somewhat unfair in terms of challenge, inability to restart quickly, and that clock. That devious counting clock. Eventually there was an update that added in more levels and fixed a lot of the issues except the annoyance from that clock counting down on the button screen, taunting you and mocking you for every movement you made in the game. Then again, it isn't as bad as the Wii U version where that clock is displayed right on the top screen.
So, does Wayforward heat things up with Mighty Switch Force 2? Or is it finally time to put out the flame in this mighty series? Let's find out.
Once again, I'll be recording footage on camera, so apologies for the quality you're about to see. If you'd prefer me just looping the trailer the next time I do a 3DS review until I get a capture card, please let me know. If not, let's begin. At first impressions, Mighty Switch Force 2 may look like a platformer with some puzzle elements thrown in. That would be a mistake. Rather than go through levels and beat your best time, Mighty Switch Force 2 is a puzzle game that challenges you to solve it as fast as your reflexes and brain can put it all together. Your goal is to go through each stage and find the 5 scantily clad women who are reformed hooligan sisters and reach the end point, or robot, as fast as you can. Like before, you're attempting to get the best time that you can, and your time is displayed on the bottom screen, once again along with the par time. And it's still very distracting, not helped by the fact that the bottom screen is red this time around and the timer is still blue, thus making it stand out even more. This is one of the very few and very rare encounters that I've ever had where a sequel kept a flaw and somehow managed to make it worse. Oh well. Greater issue aside, the core of what made the original so fun remains along with the improvements brought about in the update, and there's a good amount of additions that evolve the game as a sequel to Mighty Switch Force. For one, there are now babies to collect, which what the fuck?
I didn't just see her kick that baby in the face, did I? She did! She kicked that baby in the face! And the award for friendliest robot ever goes to...
Okay, baby kicking aside, these babies add another challenge on your first attempt or any subsequent run, and add even more replay value to a rather short game, albeit more substantial than the first one. Trying to find them in the first place is a challenge unto itself, and the change from an officer of the law to a firefighter is a welcome one indeed. It gives you an even greater feeling of urgency to save the scantily clad hooligan sisters, especially when the screen is filled with blazing fire from the foreground to the back. To beat the heat, you're no longer armed with a gun, but a water pump, and unlike Mario Sunshine, it doesn't feel like a chore to hose things down. This is simultaneously the most notable and greatest improvement to the original. In the first game, your gun was used to solve what was essentially the same two puzzles: shoot the enemy into the block and switch it up, or shoot a bomb. Occasionally you had to blast away at a wall to proceed, but it was more tedious than it was testing. Here, the water pump is utilized for a great number of functions: getting the enemy's attention, wash away blocks of various sizes, put out fiery enemies temporarily, free damsels from these things, and of course, put out the fire. Not only is it a greater tool in solving the puzzles than your gun was, but it functions differently too. Whereas your gun would fire shots in a straight line, Patricia's water pumps in an arc that goes further the more you hold down the fire button, which again, further adds to the way you can use it as a tool at your disposal. Spray a ton up close or take out hazards from afar. Speaking of hazards, there's quite a few new additions like the barbecue blocks and wooden blocks, as well as tools you'll use like pipe blocks and a new lock block. Puzzles tend to be built more around all the tools at your disposal as opposed to the timing of you switching it up, creating a more balanced experience where you'll use your pump, environment, and wits evenly together while switching things up. That being said, this game is no cakewalk. In fact, it's even more brutal than the original, but in a good way. It gives you an adrenaline rush from beginning to end and makes you want to keep going, even when you fail. All the challenge comes from how fast you can react to whatever challenge gets in your way. It's not the game delivering cheap hits or unfair par times. Whenever you fail, it comes off as a genuine reflection of your own skill. There is nothing more satisfying than after several frustrating failed attempts to complete the level under the right time, than to shave off those extra seconds and beat the par time, or even your own record.
Yeah, I did it! Feels so great. Feel like I could just kick a baby right in the face.
A good thing to be sure, considering the Mighty Switch Force 2's replay value rests solely on the player's desire to improve their timing and save all the babies. Otherwise, for $6, you're getting around 3 hours on a single run, possibly less depending on your skill level. Still, surpassing many more expensive titles in terms of sheer quality, Mighty Switch Force 2 is a worthy addition to the Mighty moniker. Once again, we conclude with the presentation. Like the rest of the sequel, almost all of the areas of Mighty Switch Force 2 are improved, forgiving the somewhat often modified sprites that are carried over from the original, if not downright recycled. There's an exquisite attention to detail, from the fire that appears in a hooligan sister's hair moments before she's sprayed with water only to shake it off, to a dog's head popping out of a fire hydrant, to Patricia's mere movement. Every sprite has been given an incredible amount of attention to detail to improve what was already an impressive looking title, giving us the most visually impressive 2D sprite work on the eShop. Each of the characters has a distinct look, all relating to heat, and despite being a female RoboCop, main character Patricia Wagon displays a greater amount of personality than ever before, with various well-drawn pictures of her and the Hooligan Sisters, and more voice work that avoids becoming grating. On the sound side, Jave Coffin once again delivers another excellent soundtrack with catchy tunes that get you pumped up for what lies ahead. Despite the occasionally offsetting breakdown into dubstep, it's immensely ear-pleasing to listen to from beginning to end. Much like everything else in the game, Wayforward surpasses the original with the best looking, and sounding, title of the Mighty series.
Mighty Switch Force 2 is a solid sequel that improves in almost every field from the original. While it doesn't come quite close to matching Shantae Risky's Revenge, it does deliver one of Wayforward's best titles, earning it an 8.5 out of 10. Fans of the original and newcomers alike will not be disappointed with one of the best titles to hit the eShop, and Wayforward fans have a great title to look forward to the beginning of their many releases this year. Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, Shantae Virtual Console, a regular show and Adventure Time game, among the many others to come out this year. So, forget the year of Luigi, this is the year of Wayforward. Until next time, game on, my friends. Brook has a devil on his side for me. I don't remember this box being here. Sure.